tea. You must eat something, you know. Eleanor, you mustn't slouch, dear. Mumsy, I wish you'd have some tea. Father's been dead for 6 weeks now, and you mustn't mope about. Well, she mustn't. When your father died, I certainly didn't mope about the house for 6 weeks. There was work to be done. Between the gardening, the housekeeping, and managing Papa's affairs, there was no time at all to be giving into such humours. It's all well and good for you, isn't it? To sit round idly by while the rest of us go and do your handiwork. My goodness, this place is a pigsty. Is that how you like to live, Mama? In a pigsty? Well, I'll be happy to oblige you if you wish. Eleanor, go be a dear and fetch me 2 sows from outside. Perhaps the fat one from the neighbour's yard. Maybe they can keep Mama company. Oh, good. We have some recognition. Welcome back to the sitting room, Mama. Would you like a spot of tea? Blech. Yes, I suppose I have used too much water. Eleanor, come. Let us lead Mama to good humours.
Oh, I'd like to stay with Grandmama, please.
I see. In her pigsty. Well, I suppose we can all just sit around and sip from Grandma's trough. It's not quite as good as the housemaid used to make it, I suppose. No. I am sorry, Mama. I've said some terrible things just now, and it's just... Well, I've been trying so hard to keep things going in this household. But after Edgar's death and now Papa's, we're all alone here, aren't we? 3 women. And poor Eleanor isn't married. Lord knows with her complexion, she may never have that privilege. Oh, well, it's true. And you can't help it, dear. And we all love you very much, but the good Lord has blessed you with the gravest assurance of chastity this town has ever seen. So, where does that leave us? Mother who refuses to clean an inch. A daughter incapable of marriage. And I, poor I, like a ship caught at port beneath a raging tempest, pulling hard against the tethered riggings, thrashing violently against the sturdy moor, yearning desperately to sail out into the open ocean, yet halted briskly by the sturdy clove knot of some bastard yeoman who strung us to the pier. You too far in one direction and I'll split apart. This too far into the other. And there's no telling what uncertainties might await. There's so much darkness in the world today. So many vast, unimaginable abstractions. How on earth can we go on if not together? How can we survive, dear Mother, if not by strapping ourselves in unison to the mast? This tempest threatens to engulf us anymore. If we do not engage together, we're not likely to survive. Come! If you do not wish to see us go asunder, you must join with me, my loves, my daughter and my mother. And we must pull with all our might against these riggings.
Oh. How do you know so much of sailing, Mother? You speak as if you've gone 100 times.
No. I used to read your father's novels while he lived. I read one once of a giant whale and a sea captain chased after him under the farthest reaches of the ocean. It was quite romantic in a way. And there was another by a Mr. Vernon, another American, I believe. This one told of a giant squid with many arms who attacked their steel submersible. I must say, the oceans are filled with giant things. Oh, It's a wonder those ships can make it home at all in those conditions. Perhaps it's healthier to stay at port, now that I consider it. Well then, come now. We're all done with the afternoon tea. Let us withdraw ourselves to the kitchen and begin our supper preparations. Now, Mamma, will you be staying inert for the rest of the evening? Good then. Carry on.
Mama?
Yes, dear.
I'm not sure I know how to prepare the supper. Mrs. Edmund always did that for us.
Yes, I know, dear. But Papa died without telling us where he hid the money, and Mamma's not helping in that regard. Miss Edmund stayed on an extra 2 weeks for us as it was. I couldn't possibly have asked her to work for free. I did what I had to do. My darling Miss Edmund understood. And so should you. Now, please, I will require your assistance in the kitchen.
Marvin!
Yes, Mother? Well, all right, then we'll be quiet by yourself for a few moments.
Marvin!
Starving? Are you starving, Mother? But I offered you some tea.
Marvin.
Moms.
No, I believe she's saying Marvin, Mother.
But who or what is Marvin?
No, I believe it's a name.
A name? I've never heard of such a name.
Marvin!
Yes, I hear you, Mother, but who or what is Marvin?
Marvin.
I see. Do you think she's saying marmalade? Perhaps I think she's hungry.
No, it's Marvin, Mother. She's clearly saying
Marvin!
Yes.
Marvin! Marvin! Marvin!
I hear you, Mother, but Papa's name was Benedict, Mother, not Marvin.
Marvin!
Well, there is no need to shout about it.
Marvin!
Grandmama, please, sit down. Come. All right.
Marvin!
What do you see, Mother?
Marvin!
What does Sweat Mum say?
Marvin!
Grandmama, please. It's really all right.
Marvin! 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 Marvin!
I swear you can be a spoiled brat sometimes. I cannot assist you if I don't know what it is that you want.
Marvin!
Grandmama? Mama? What is it?
Oh! Forgive me, ladies. I did not mean to startle you. I was merely intending to rap ever so gently upon yonder exterior window pane of yours. My clumsy staff went right on through. I shall pay for the window, of course. Such troublesome apertures, always breaking when you least expect it. How much would you say for the window? 10 shilling. 6 crown. 14 guinea? I've never paid for a window before, so I'm afraid I have no idea.
Who are you?
Oh, forgive me, ladies. My name is Marvin.
Grandmama?
I say, will she be all right?
All right.
Yes, she's fine. Marvin who?
Oh, Babcock, my lady. At your pleasure.
Is it Lord Chesterfield Babcock.
Yes, Lord Chesterfield was my grandfather.
Grandfather? But Lord Chesterfield's younger than I am, at least I believed him.
Oh, no, my good lady. I believe you're thinking of my uncle, Lord Chesterfield Babcock the younger. Lord Chesterfield Babcock the elder was my grandfather. He's been dead for 7 years now, though. God rest his soul.
I am so sorry for your loss. Speaking of which, have you met my mother? Lady Maud Bantam of the Rosecombe line. Her great-great-great-grandfather, Henry Rosecombe, was a direct descendant of King Richard III.
Well, I'm not sure that I'd recognize her from this position.
Oh, of course, I do apologize. Mumsy, please get up. You're embarrassing me. I swear, old age and laziness do not go hand in hand. Mother, please get up now. Where am I? You're in the sitting room, Mother. And we have company. Very handsome company.
What am I doing in the sitting room?
You're lying down, Mother.
Don't be absurd. Why would I be lying down in the sitting room? I've no business lying down in a room for sittings.
Mother, this is Marvin.
Oh. Yes, I see.
Right.
What on God's green earth is Marvin?
It's his name, Mother. Lord Marvin Babcock.
How do you do that?
Well, thank you. What kind of a name is Marvin?
Well, I don't know, Mother. You were shouting it several moments ago.
Shouting? And why should I be shouting? It's surely not a name I've never heard before. Don't be ridiculous. Welcome, Lord Marvin. And please do excuse my daughter's exaggerations. She has much of her father in her, I'm afraid.
The name is Welsh, my lady. The name Marvin comes from Wales. My mother comes from Wales.
Oh, yes, I seem to recall now that Lord Chesterfield, of course, would often visit his Aunt Louisa out in Wales from time to time.
Of course.
Of course. Mr. Babcock, have you met my daughter, Eleanor? She'll be 17 this April, and as yet unpromised.
My lady. Why, you're even more beautiful in person than in all the tales I've heard about you.
You've heard tales about me.
You've heard tales about my daughter.
Why, yes. I've heard that Eleanor Dumpy is the sweetest, fairest, and loveliest creature in all the town of Orpington.
Ha! The only person telling tales in here is you.
Mother, what are you saying?
I haven't said a word. I'm merely minding my own business.
You must forgive her sudden outburst, Mr. Babcock. She's a tad bit feeble-minded and elderly. You know how that is.
Feeble-minded! You dare to call me feeble-minded! I've half a mind to show you just how feeble-minded I am.
Pay no attention to her, Marvin. No, come, tell me more of these tales.
Feeble-minded! Feeble-minded!
Did they say anything about me?
Yes! They said you were feeble-minded! Feeble-minded!
No, Mr. Babcock, for the love of God, I must know. Did they say anything about me?
Yes. They said you were adopted.
Oh!
May I call you Eleanor?
Yes.
I meant what I said before, about you being lovely.
I think you're lovely too. Mama says I'm full complexioned. I have facial warts and acne, and I'll never meet a man.
You've met me, haven't you?
My skin does not repulse you.
On the contrary, I find your beauty marks compelling.
No one's ever called them beauty marks before. Good sir, I feel like I should know you better.
Ask me anything.
Did you show up just for me?
No, I had other business to attend to.
With Mama? With Mama. You had other business to attend to with Mama.
No, other business here in town. But while I was here, I heard about your grandfather passing. So I thought I'd stop in, deliver my condolences, and accidentally break your window in. I do apologize for that again.
Oh, I understand. But how did you come to hear tales about me?
From the villagers, of course,
Oh.
in town. They said you were a handsome woman, kissed by a god, they told me. Or perhaps it was afflicted by a god. I couldn't really hear their words, but it sounded like the fondness they were speaking of. So I see that they were correct.
Would you take me with you?
Hmm?
Back to Wales, or wherever it is you are going after this.
Actually, really? Hungry. Why don't we discuss this after supper?
Oh, yes, of course, my lord.
Eleanor. Please, call me Marvin. Oh, kissed by a frog, more like.
Nancye, and we should have some tea. You must eat something, you know. Eleanor, you mustn't slouch, dear. Nancye, and we should have some tea. Father's been dead for 6 weeks now, and you mustn't mope about.
Mother.
Well, she mustn't. When your father died, I certainly didn't mope about the house for 6 weeks. There was work to be done. Between the gardening, the housekeeping, and managing Papa's affairs, there was no time at all to be giving into such humours. It's all well and good for you, isn't it? To sit round idly while the rest of us go and do your handiwork. My goodness, this place is a pigsty. Is that how you like to live, Mama? In a pigsty? Well, I'll be happy to oblige you if you wish. Eleanor, go be a dear and fetch me 2 sows from outside. Perhaps the fat one from the neighbour's yard. Maybe they can keep the bar company. Oh, good. We have some recognition. Welcome back to the sitting room, Mama. Would you like a spot of tea? Blech. Yes, I suppose I have used too much water. Eleanor, come, let us others.
I'd like to stay with Grandmama, please.
I see.
Of course. If you wish to.
Most indeed. For you seem to be a great many miles until my next sojourn, and I would hate to start off on such a dreadful journey at this dreadful hour of the evening. I would very much like to stay, Miss Henrietta, with your permission, of course.
Of course. I'll go and make up the servants' quarters for you.
What about in your bed?
I beg your pardon.
I said, why don't I sleep in your bed? It's the largest in the county from what I've been told.
Mr. Babcock, this is highly inappropriate.
No, my good lady. I think you've misunderstood me. I meant, why don't I sleep in your bed? And you can go and sleep in the servants' quarters. It is customary, after all, to treat your guests to the finest that your household has to offer. Is it not?
I dare say it is not how I imagined it.
Please, allow me to rephrase my question. You see, I was brought up in a tiny cottage just outside of Oxfordshire. For 11 years of my life, I was raised to believe that I was the simple son of a lowly goatherd. The man who cared for me was a lovely chap who called himself my dad. His hands were rough and calloused, like the skin of a dead rhinoceros. But on that fateful morning, at 11:15, it was actually 11:11, my memory says, on the date of my 11th birthday, in the 11th month of the year, no less, I discovered something marvelous. You see, our landlord, Mr. Babcock, Lord Chesterfield Babcock, the elder, that is, came down to survey his land. He rode up in a horse-drawn carriage gleaming brilliantly in the tardy morning sun, the golden breeze of Caesar embossed upon his door knobs, and his rails were solid brass. When he stepped celestially, losing my mind thinking about it, he stepped celestially from that chariot. It was as though I'd seen the face of God. Surely no man can be that heavenly. And yet here was the face of the Almighty. He called out to me in a basso profundo voice.
You, dear boy, come hither.
He asked me what my name was. Marvin, I replied. Marvin Penbury, my lord, at your service. Marvin Penbury? He repeated in a tone that one could only describe as jovial. The wretch, whom I used to call my dad, approached, bowed profusely before this Goliath, and offered his sincere apologies, for, you see, it had rained a tempest on the eve before, and the farm was in shambles.
Nonsense,
Said Lord Chesterfield.
I have come on happy tidings, for you see, 'tis my grandson's 11th birthday.
But, my lord, the callous man protested.
Tut, tut, you knew this day would come.
He placed a hand on my shoulder.
My son.
He leaned in close to me, so close that I could smell the apple brandy on his breath.
You look just like your father. He was a difficult lad, but I dare say that I loved him. I wish I could tell you a delightful tale of a prodigal son who returned home after a lifetime of debauchery and sin, and into his loving father's open arms. Alas, your father died almost a year ago, traveling upon a merchant vessel that was capsized heading out to sea. But before he passed, slightly more than 11 years before he passed away, he had a dalliance with your mother.
I recall him here, looking at the shattered remnants of the goatherd whom I used to call my father, with an air of pity and scorn.
A slanter, low-born, pathetic woman who seduced your father and gave birth to you, dear Marvin. But she did not survive the process. Ashamed, terrified of what my wrath might be, your father, my son, asked this here goatherd to be your father and to raise you as his own. He paid him 40 shillings,
20! The wretch whom I used to call my father interrupted.
20.
Repeated Lord Chesterfield.
And then he fled to Scotland and turned to gambling and to drink and eventually joined the Royal Navy. But had I known, oh, my dear lad, if only I had known, I would have raised you as my own dear son. I swear this to you with all my heart. Alas, I've only just now discovered you through his letters tucked away inside your father's trunk. Letters that I surely never would have opened, save for grief which transported me to madness. It was in those letters that I discovered your existence. And that, my boy, is why I am here today. For you see, I wish to raise you as my grandson, and not some lowly goat herd. No offense, good man, for surely you're a Babcock, and not a Penbury at all.
Good sir, why are you telling me all of this?
My grandfather took me in immediately. He raised me in a palatial estate, treated me with figs. I had servants waiting on me endlessly, to feed me, to bathe me, to tend to my every whim and base desire. He sent me on safari on my 13th birthday to sub-Saharan Africa. I shot a dozen elephants, a lion, 2 rhinoceri, and 17 giraffes. I swear, you've never lived a day in your life until you stood upon the carcass of a dead giraffe. He raised me as a nobleman despite my bastard roots. He taught me to appreciate the finer things in life. I've had caviar for breakfast. I've played cricket with the Prince of Wales. So, ever since that fateful day, 11 years ago, no matter what I do, no matter how I try, I simply cannot fall asleep upon a servant's bed. Therefore, I shall sleep in your bed, or I shall not sleep at all. I hope you understand. My dear Miss Henrietta, I will say again, you shall make your bed for me, and you shall make the servant's bed for you, and I will hear no more about it. Is that understood?
Yes, my lord.
Oh, and Henrietta, would you be a dear and fetch some wood for me outside? It is far too cold for me out there.
As you wish, my lord.
To make of it. What? Strange man asleep in our home, your mother not awake in time for breakfast. The whole thing's turning to cobwebs, if you ask me. The entire estate will turn to dust if we're not careful.
I don't know, Grandmama. Sort of like it.
What destruction?
No. Excitement. The house feels brighter now. It's
Disturbing. Who will feed the chickens now? The dandelions from the look within your eyes.
I think he fancies me.
Ooh, the dandelions.
No. The man. Upstairs.
Oh, yes. Well, blessed are the meek, the Bible says.
No. I mean directly upstairs. Mr. Babcock.
Oh, I wouldn't trust him. He isn't who he says he is.
I think he's nice.
I think you're a fool, is what I think.
He kissed me, you know.
Oh, I'll bet he did.
He told me I was lovely.
I think he's lied to you.
You must know. He's a perfect gentleman.
Your grandfather was a perfect gentleman, and I never made eyes at him the way you've made eyes at Mr. Babcock. Oh, no, my dear, I don't think he's been a gentleman at all. In fact, I think it's a rather rare thing for a woman to get all dewy-eyed and sentimental over a perfect gentleman now, isn't it? Surely there must be something scandalous about him, or else why would he elicit such emotion?
I don't think you're correct, Grandmama. I think he is a perfect gentleman, and I think he is very much in love with me.
And your mother calls me the loony one. That reminds me, where is your mother? I feel as though I haven't eaten in days.
You haven't.
Nonsense! I ate just yesterday, I'm sure of it.
No, Grandmama, we tried. You wouldn't.
No, I'm certain I remember. Chicken soup with a biscuit on the side.
That was Sunday. We haven't had chicken soup since Sunday. Today is Wednesday.
Pop, go and find your mother. Marvin. What kind of a name is Marvin?
My goodness, Mother. What time is it?
Time enough for you to be dressed and ready for the day, I'd say. What in heaven's name's gotten into you?
I don't know. My body aches. My neck is stiff. I don't know how the servants ever managed it.
Servants? What are you on about?
Well, it's just that I was... Mama, what is Mr. Babcock doing in your bed? Oh my God! Mr. Babcock, your namesake is showing.
Forgive me, my lady. It appears that I may have given Miss Eleanor here a little fright.
Oh, it wasn't little. I mean, the fright was a terrible fright. It wasn't little at all. I see. Oh, Mr. Babcock, I have invited you to sleep in my bed last evening. Whilst I slept in the other room, of course. But I'm beginning to feel you were taking advantage now. I don't know how you do things back in Wales, good sir, but here in Orpington we prefer to sleep with our clothing on.
Of course. My apologies, my lady.
Mr. Babcock! You look awfully familiar to me.
Yes, Mother, you met him only last evening when he arrived.
Yes, but there's something familiar about all of this.
Familiar about a naked man in our sitting room.
My ladies, with your permission.
Yes, please, please do. Go on, go on. Now,
Wait!
Yes.
Mr. Babcock, I must know, what are your intentions here with us?
For the time being, my lady, I intend to be less undressed. Good day.
Not hiding something. No, I dare say he had it all laid out in front of us. And rather awkwardly, in my opinion. And what other room were you sleeping in, pray tell?
quarters? Miss Evans' own bedroom.
You are all feeble-minded. The whole lot of you.
Mama, do you think Mr. Babcock and I would make a decent match?
Well, I dare say he is very well endowed. I mean in fortune, from what I gather. Lord Chesterfield the elder was a very wealthy man.
But whatever happened with... Oh, never mind.
Lord Chesterfield the younger. Yes. He was an old acquaintance of mine in the glory days. A very fond acquaintance. But he was betrothed to the Earl of Cambridge's daughter, the Lady Maria Elderby. Alas, poor Chesterfield never had a chance.
Nor did you, it sounds like.
No, I suppose I didn't. But I met your father. He was very good to me. Even after he died, he left us this entire estate. We had furs, linens, everything a woman could desire. Of course, I never learned how to manage it the way he could. Something about the female brain. For it's like your old father always said, women are made for dainties and tarts. Right. And the men are made for smarts. Yes. Yes, it's true. So Papa agreed to help, of course. Your grandpapa. But we all know how that turned out. I have no idea what he did with any of it, apparently. Might have spent it all on drink, for all I can figure.
Grandpapa didn't drink.
No, but your grandmama sure did.
She did?
Oh,
My.
yes. Still does, for all I can figure. Though Lord knows where she gets it from, since we haven't any money. But I suppose it was just Papa's way of preparing his soul for heaven, in a way. For it's like the Bible always tells us. It's easier by far to stick a needle in a camel's eye than for a rich man to get into heaven. So I suppose Papa's soul was in no danger, according to that standard by the end. Nor either of ours from the looks of it.
That's certainly one way to view the situation, Mama.
I would just rather go to hell than boil another omelette.
Where is Mrs. Edmund? And where the hell is Edgar's money? Where on God's green earthly property?
Good day, good lady. Am I interrupting something?
No, Mama and I were just preparing the breakfast.
How delightful. Would you mind boiling me up an omelette? I have some dreadfully boring errands to attend to up in town today, and I would hate to do them on an empty stomach.
Of course.
Mr. Babcock? Will you be leaving us for good this afternoon, or will you...
Well, that depends entirely on you, Miss Eleanor. Would you like for me to leave this afternoon?
No, Mama? Can Mr. Babcock stay another evening?
How nice! Yes. Yes, how lovely. Lovely indeed, my dear.
Until this afternoon, my lady, I shall count the hours as a rooster counts his hens.
I think he loves me.
Oh, I think he'd better, or I'll be boiling him up next. Yes, Mama.
I know you blame me, but I had nothing to do with it.
Of course, Mama. Nothing to do with what, Mama?
With losing your father's money. I know you all think me feeble-minded, but I'm as sound as the day I was born. And I can assure you I would remember if I had lost it.
Of course you would, Mama. Unless you spent it all on drink.
What?
Nothing. Would you like some more tea to drink?
No. Have you checked the dresser drawers?
I'm sorry?
The dresser drawers in Papa's room. Perhaps he's left the money there.
Yes, Mama, I've checked the dresser drawers. I've checked the dresser drawers 3 times. It's nowhere to be found.
Because he often kept the money inside his trousers, if I recall correctly. Did you check inside his trousers?
Yes, Mama, I checked inside his trousers. Every single pair. Eleanor, was Papa wearing trousers when he died?
I dare say that he was. He wasn't like some of these young men these days, running around all naked as a jaybird. Your Papa was a respectable man, a decent man.
Yes, Mama, I know. Papa was a respectable man. But I need to know which trousers he was wearing so I can determine if I've searched in them or not.
Oh.
They were grey, with frayed edges near the heel. I remember, because I found him face down near the woodshed on that dreadful morning. His legs were sticking out, and I thought, how hard. The edges near his heels were frayed. I wonder why Mrs. Edmund hadn't taken the pains to mend them yet.
Yes, of course, but were those the trousers he was buried in, or was he buried in his blue ones?
Oh. Well, I can't remember, but I can remember thinking, it's not even 12 o'clock. I wonder why Grandpapa's sleeping near the woodshed. And then I saw his trousers. I thought, how odd, the edges near his heels are frayed. I wonder why. I can't remember.
What do you want to like?
Was Papa buried in his blue trousers or his grey ones?
Well, of course he was buried in his trousers. What do you think he was buried in his pantaloons?
No, Mama, he... Listen, I will need to venture into town today and visit Mr. Fenimore.
The undertaker.
Yes. If Papa had any money in his trousers, Mr. Fenimore would have found it.
Wouldn't he have mentioned it by now?
Perhaps. But it doesn't hurt to make an inquiry, now does it?
And perhaps he considered it a part of his fee.
Well, perhaps he considered Rory then, now hasn't he? Oh, I will be most polite, of course. But I will be checking his face for any sign of dissimulation. If he gives off even the slightest twitch, I'll know.
Know what?
Are you even listening, Mother? Or have you grown deaf as well as daft?
I do wish the cholera had taken you instead of your brother.
Yes. Well, it didn't. So you are left with me. And I'm about to have a word with the Undertaker.
What? About what exactly? About Papa's bloody trousers, that's what! Oh, young people and your trousers. In my day, we used to keep them on, no matter what.
When did you ever wear trousers, Mama?
Okay, but Mama, suppose Mr. Fenimore did pill for Grandpapa's money.
Our money.
Well, yes, but whatever could you do about it now? Surely he wouldn't just hand it back to you, now would he?
Oh, my dear child, you would be very surprised. The mind of a thief is a multifaceted thing. Perhaps Mr. Fenimore would be so plagued with guilt upon hearing of our despair that he would say to me, "My good Miss Henrietta, my darling Miss Henrietta, why, of course I found your papa's money, but finding neither the time nor the proper moment for which to return it to you, I have instead secured it here in a private safe for this exact moment that you have returned." Oh. And then I would say to him, "My dear Mr. Fenimore, my good Mr. Fenimore, you have no inkling how indebted to you my family and I truly are." And I would curtsy to him with my fan, and I would invite him back to our house for supper. And you, my lord, could play him and Monsieur de choosing on the pianoforte. And he and I could dance the night away in a Vesuvio.
And she calls me feeble-minded.
You wish to dance the night away with the Undertaker.
Yes. Why not? He is a very well-established man. And he's not hurting for customers, that's for certain. I think he is a much better choice than that creature you've been ogling.
Oh,
No! Mr. Babcock!
Oh, forgive me, sweet ladies. It appears that I've shattered one of your window panes again. 6 of them, in fact. Dear me, I've been ever so clumsy lately. I shall pay for the windows, of course.
nonsense, Mr. Babcock. You're a guest of our household. You'll pay for no such thing.
Of course, if you are handy with a trowel and some patty, perhaps you may. Never mind.
My dear Miss Eleanor, might I have a word with you, perhaps? Alone.
Yes, of course. My lord.
Mr. Babcock,
Yes.
is it raining out?
Why, no, Miss Henrietta. It's a perfectly pleasant day.
I think there is something wrong with him.
Nonsense. I think he's a perfect gentleman.
He's very clumsy.
I hadn't noticed.
I dare say he's nothing like his uncle. Lord Chesterfield the younger was a gallant man, a regular Lothario. I dare say his brother certainly didn't pass down any of that charm through his lineage.
Are we absolutely certain that Lord Chesterfield had a brother? I remember your engagement distinctly. You could not have married Lord Chesterfield due to his betrothal, so we found you Edgar Dumpy, the milliner's son, instead. So why didn't Lord Chesterfield's brother seek you out?
No. I'm sure of it. His brother was in the Navy for a time, Well, Chet and I were friends. His name was Thomas. Sir Thomas Winifred Babcock, captain of the Royal Navy. Now, I never had the chance to meet him, of course, but Chet would tell me tales of his adventures rather often. According to Marvin, though, he's never met his father neither.
And don't you find that odd?
What? No. Lots of men die off before their children get to meet them. I find it tragic, certainly, but not odd. Well, what did Mr. Babcock say?
He asked for my hand, marriage.
Well, why do you look so troubled?
Because it wasn't to him. It was to Mr. FENNIMORE, up in town.
Mr. The Undertaker.
Apparently he's desired me for quite some time. Asked Mr. Babcock to be the go-between.
Mr. FENNIMORE desires you.
That's what he told me anyway.
Well, why on earth is Mr. Babcock proposing marriage?
Yes?
Why on earth are you proposing marriage to my daughter on another man's behalf?
It's what I do, madam.
What do you mean it's what you do?
And it wasn't a proposal, actually, as much as it was a sacred vow.
And what on earth do you mean by that?
I mean that I have sworn an oath to give your daughter's hand in marriage to Mr. Fenimore.
What?
Mama!
Now, where on earth do you get all... What gives you the right to be making decisions for our family when you are but a guest?
Am I? You see, you keep using this word guest, madam, as if it meant something. But in truth, I find it quite insulting.
In what way?
In what way?
Yes. In what way is that insulting? Are you not our guest?
A guest must be invited in. A guest must be welcomed in with open arms. But if I recall correctly, I had to force my way inside. I had to break your goddamn window, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, I am an intruder, Lady Dumpy. I dare say I am not your guest at all.
But we gave you our permission.
Did you?
Yes.
No. I seem to recall you gave me acquiescence. But what choice did you really have? 2 widows and a spinster whose face is all mangled with the devil's poxy. No, what choice had you at all? Your men have squandered their abundance and left you desperate and absurd. You saw a handsome chap in your twilight hour of despair, and you became enamored. Not that I can blame you, I am rather stunning, after all. But was it my appearance, or my charms, or merely my pretense of money that drew you in? But after all, what could you have done? Could you have asked me to depart, escorted me outside, or would that be impolite? And surely you can't imagine I would leave. Not without a show of force. But you haven't any servants. Not a weapon on the grounds. And what good are those weak, pathetic arms against a virile, brutish man like me?
We have a hatchet in the woodshed.
Oh! Well, do you now?
Yes.
I thank you, Lady Eleanor. I shall procure it instantly. But one more thing before I leave. Please don't bar the door against me while I'm gone. I shall only shatter more windows to regain my entrance. And the house is getting rather drafty, don't you think?
Shit! Well, I never.
I told you he was up to no good.
No, Mama. You told him he didn't have to pay for the windows he shattered. Now how on earth will we repair the damage he's inflicted?
Mama,
Yes, dear.
I really have to marry Mr. FENNIMORE.
Oh, no, dear, no. Mr. Babcock's probably just playing a jig of some kind. Some unfunny laugh at our expense. We'll get it all worked out in the end, I promise. But in the meantime, just one thing.
Why is everything wet? I don't believe he's playing a game, Mama. I believe he means it. Oh, no, dear, no. You see, Mr. Babcock has no jurisdiction.
What were you saying?
Yes, Mr. Fenimore is a rather handsome man when you get right down to it. There are far worse men you could marry. Isn't that right, Mr. Babcock?
Stranded on the river's pier, the land behind is waning. The sun will cry 1,000 tears, the drops will feel like raining. But never in a million years will I begin complaining. For I survived the waterfall and I traversed the ocean. I've made it through the mighty squall with nary any emotion. I shall not weep, my lord, at all, I shall not cause commotion, but I shall be the epitome of complacence and devotion.
Was that your grandfather's song?
Grandmama, I'm sorry. I did not realize anyone was listening.
He used to sing it in the army with his fellow Toms. It was a marching tune, not a... It was supposed to keep the gentleman in line as a motivation. Quite different from the way you sang it just now, which was charming, by the way. Back then he was fighting in the 100 Days' War against that short buffoon. What was his name? Napoleon something or other. And on the 101st day, he was still singing that god-awful tune, Lord bless him. The midget had been exiled, and here I was, still tormented by my husband's painful caterwauling. I forbade him ever to sing it in the house again. I can't imagine how you've heard it.
He used to sing it to me at bedtime to help me sleep. I think it was the only song he knew.
Yes, I suppose it was. Well, at least somebody has fond memories of it.
Grandmama,
Yes.
were you frightened when you married Grandpapa?
Frightened? Oh, no, my dear. Bitter, perhaps. A little angry with your great-grandparents, but frightened, no. You see, your grandfather was a very gentle man. A little too gentle, if you know what I mean. He gave me no cause for alarm.
What do you mean, Grandmama?
Oh, nothing. Just the ramblings of a foolish old woman.
I see.
Are you frightened, my dear?
Yes. A little. What if he...
Oh, don't worry about that, my dear. Don't worry about that at all. I'm sure Mr. Fenimore has seen some pretty horrible things as an undertaker. I've no doubt he'll be just fine with your complexion.
I wasn't even worried about that. It's more so worried.
What?
Never mind. I was just worried about you. Mama, you're alone with Mr. Babcock when I leave. There's no telling what sort of mischief he might cause. I've never met a man like him before, so brutal, virile. All this time, I thought he loved me. I can't understand why. Why would he mislead me so? Call me beautiful and love me. No one's ever called me beautiful before. And the way he kissed me, sort of monster would do such a thing? Grandma, you get your rest now. Lord knows you deserve it. What? I said, Lord knows you deserve your rest.
Oh, don't thank you. I can go the rest I need when I'm dead. Right now I have plenty of living left to do. Plenty of living left to do.
Yes, you do.
Stranded on the river's pier, the land behind us waiting. The sun will cry 1,000 tears, the drops will feel like raining. But never in a million years will I begin complaining. For I survived the waterfall and I traversed the ocean. I faded through the mighty squall with nary any motion. I shall not weep, my lord, at all, I shall not cause commotion, but I shall be the epitome of complacence and devotion.
Get it, girl.
I do thank you for seeing us so quickly, Mr. Fenimore, but I'm afraid we have no dowry to offer you. See, because my
You
father
can
died-
have their estate, Mr. Fenimore. Their entire estate. Pigs and all.
Mr. Babcock, my word, what gives you the authority to... Oh, yes. You can have the estate. The entire estate. Pigs and all. What a novel idea.
Mama, where will you live? You and Grandmama.
Oh, I'll be dead before he kicks me out.
Perhaps Mr. Fenimore would allow us to live with you as mother of the bride and such.
Mr. Fenimore, the house will be yours at that point. What say you to this arrangement?
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Fenimore, thank you. You are most kind. Now, Eleanor, dear, tell me, does this match please you?
Does it please you, Mama?
My dear child, you know your happiness is all that I desire.
Mr. Babcock, you've made promises to me, you know, when you first arrived. You told me I was beautiful.
And Mr. Fenimore agrees with me. Do you not, Mr. Fenimore?
She's fair enough.
Fair enough! And you're not bothered by her strange complexion.
Why should I be? I can't make babies with her face, now can I?
Well, then, Mr. Fenimore, you are not at all the man I thought you were.
Why? And what kind of man is that?
A good man. A kind-hearted man. The kind of man who fancied me, perhaps. Who'd like to dance the Vesuvian with me. To an Omaggio dolcissimo. On the pianoforte.
I don't even know if those are words, Mrs. Duncan. Besides, I can't make babies with your dried up old uterus neither.
Well then, good day, sir.
Marvin, will you allow my mother to be spoken to in such a manner? In her own home, no less.
It won't be her home after you marry him, my dear.
Then I shall never marry him. Nor you. Nor any man who views women in such contempt. And you can go and make babies with the pigs for all I care.
Bloody hell! Who crawled up her crack and died this evening?
She'll be back. And just what are you so happy about?
You're all feeble-minded The entire lot of you. You think I don't recognize you, Mr. Babcock. But I do. I remember you as clear as day. You too, Mr. Fenimore. You both think me a foolish old woman. But you're just a couple of old wolves from back in the day. Oh yes, you two have known each other for quite some time now, haven't you? Oh yes, I dare say that you have. And quite a team the two of you make. Quite a team indeed. One corrupts the lives of innocents, and the other one finishes the job. But if you think my granddaughter will be as easy to corrupt as her mother was, Mr. Babcock, then you are quite mistaken. And you too, Mr. Fenimore. You may think you've outfoxed us all with your clever ruse, but you both met your match in Eleanor Dumpy. I can assure you of that. And as for you, Mr. Babcock, Lord my left foot, you're no more a lord than I am the Queen of England. You've chosen the wrong household to return to, my dear boy. You left here many, many years ago, and I dare say you rue the day that you decided to return. My granddaughter, oh yes, my granddaughter, will make you wish that you had never been born. Lord. Ah! You wouldn't be a lord if you owned 1,000,000 acres.
What the bloody hell was that outwitty going on about? Never you mind. Stay here, and for God's sake, save the baby-making talk for after you're married.
The dead never give me half as much trouble as the live ones do.
I am sorry, Mama. I ever spoke to you in such a manner. The behavior's abhorrent. I don't understand how anyone could ever tolerate such creatures.
What creatures, my child?
Men.
Oh, my dear child. Men are like eggs. If you leave them in the water too long, they can become hard and unmalleable. Or they can be soft and tender if you break them early enough. Mr. Babcock's been left out in the sun too long, I'm afraid. He's turned rotten.
And Mr. Fenimore.
Oh, his brains have become scrambled from meddling with that vagabond in there. But they do not represent all men, you know. Well, your father was kind. And your grandfather was, well, you know.
Oh, I don't. Why does everyone keep implying something about my grandpapa that I don't understand?
Because you don't pay attention, my dear. Why important details seem to just slip on by you.
Such as?
Such as Mr. Babcock's flirtations with you, for one. Didn't you sense that they were disingenuous?
No. Why would I assume they were disingenuous?
Because your face,
Oh.
child. Well, you're not the type of girl men could ever fall in love with. I mean, they might marry you, of course, and and procreate. But to think that they could ever fall in love
No.
is simply...
I reject that notion. There is more to me than just my abnormalities. I have an intellect, and I have other...
Yes, there is more to you than that. And I know that. And your grandmama knows that. And your grandpapa knew that when he was alive. But other men are simply what?
Like eggs, Mama.
Yes. Yes, like eggs. And they believe that they are the center of the universe. That we must sit on them and coddle them and warm them when they're chilly and protect their fragile feelings from the outside elements. You know, I was in love with another man once, Eleanor. Before your father. I loved him with every fiber of my being. I gave myself to him. Gave him everything I was. Everything I knew I was. But his father discovered us. Lord Chesterfield Babcock, the elder. He found us in his son's bedroom, engaged him. He called me a harlot, and he had me thrust out of his castle gates like a common street whore. I had no wagon with me, no shoes even on my feet. I'd left them in Lord Chesterfield's bedroom. I had to walk for nearly 2 days, with my soles exposed, until one of our neighbors found me. Took me the rest of the way back home. That weekend, I heard the news. Lord Chesterfield the younger was betrothed. Your grandfather never said a word about it. He never treated me unkind, although I'm certain I disappointed him terribly. And your grandmama, well, she arranged marriage with your father. Those were very trying times, those days. So much desperation. You know, I look back now and wonder, what on earth did I ever see in that beast? He could have battled his father. He could have wrestled off the yoke of societal obligation and fought his way back to me. To my arms. To my vengeance. My soul's desire. Instead, he married her. He absconded off in a distance with my heart. What sort of a person doesn't fight for the one they love? I do. What sort of a person? It isn't a woman, Eleanor. I can tell you that much. Because when it comes to love, a woman fights. A woman fights. Oh, not now, Mama. I am not in a mood to fight.
He's a handsome man, that Chesterfield. Very handsome man indeed.
struck dumb by your elaborate deception. I may not be a beauty, Mr. Babcock. I know that now. I have known that my entire life. For a moment, I believed. For a moment, I believed that I had something beautiful inside of me. Something beautiful that you and only you alone could see, and I allowed myself. I allowed myself to feel. You don't understand women, do you, Mr. Babcock? You don't understand people of any ilk, do you? Do you? Do you understand what makes us human? It is not money, or inheritance, or even our fancy titles. It's love. The ability to love. The capacity to love. I love my mother very much. And my grandmother. For a moment, I believed I loved you. But you've disappointed me greatly, Mr. Babcock. You have destroyed my trust and love. This heart was mine, and you've stolen it from me for just a moment, just a fleeting, insignificant second in your eyes. But knowing this heart was ever yours, was ever owned by such a cold and calculating fiend, if this beating heart inside my ribs could ever flip so casually to the whims of such a beast as you, it makes me hate my heart. It makes me hate that I ever loved. It makes me hate that this foul contraption could ever live inside my body. If you have any compassion left inside of you, if you have any love or kindness left inside of you, you will split me open with that hatchet. You will remove the offending organ from behind my breast, and you will crush my detestable heart in front of me. Do it. Do it now, whatever you do. I said do.
Lady Dumpy.
Please, call me Henrietta.
As you wish.
Forgive me, Mr. FENNIMORE. Before we continue on, I must know one thing. When you were preparing my father's body for burial, did you notice anything unusual about his trousers?
His trousers, my lady.
Yes. Any coins or paper notes stuffed within his pockets?
None that I can recall, my lady, no.
Please, Henrietta.
As you wish.
So, you received no extra benefit from my father's passing. Is this correct?
Aside from my standard fee of 12 quid, my lady, no.
Please.
Fine. Miss Henrietta. But I dare say you look more like an Abigail to me.
An Abigail?
Oh, it was my mother's name. And you look to be about her age and disposition. Around the time that she died, I mean.
Oh! Well then, I imagine your mother must have been a handsome just fair enough.
Oh. You have to understand, my lady, Miss Henrietta, please. I've been a widower for nigh on 20 years now. I buried my own wife back in 28. I was the only undertaker in all of Orpington even at that time, so I took it upon myself to do the honours. I was quite good at it too, if I do say so. Developed quite a bit of a knack for the thing. But in 25 years of cutting and stitching, hammering the nails into the caskets, and washing and dressing and carving the headstones with my own two hands, I've barely even had time to notice the fairer sex, if you don't mind saying. Well, it's not that I didn't notice them at all, mind you. And while somewhat caught my eye, Miss Arabella Kensington, for example, poor thing, died in a wishing well. There she was, laid out on me table. Pretty as an angel up in heaven she was, minus the bloody head with him. But there she was, naked as the day she was born. Oh, forgive me, Miss Henrietta. In my profession, I sometimes forget the proper courtesies expected in a polite society, but there's no real polite way to say naked, though, is there? I mean, naked, nude, without a stitch on, never reaches exposed, areola. No, you just have to come right out and say it, don't you? So there she was, unclothed. Oh, that would work, wouldn't it? Unclothed. You have to understand, Miss Henrietta, for the past 20 years, the only attractive women would ever give me the time of day were the ones that laid out on my table. I do know that it's impolite for me to say what I did with her for the next 2 days. So, I'll just leave the basic details out for now, but suffice to say, my perception of the fairer sex has been affected by my choice of companions over the past 20-odd years. Beauty holds very little sway over my affections anymore, Miss Henrietta. Truth be told, the presence of a pulse is quite enough for me. Well, that and the ability to provide me with a son. The fact of the matter is, Miss Henrietta, in another lifetime, I might have favoured you. You have a coldness about you that I find attractive. But it is critical to me that I have a son to pass on my estate, such as it is. That is why my affections have fallen toward your daughter as of late.
Yes, and what if she provides you a daughter? Or proves to be infertile? You not love her just the same.
Oh, come now, Miss Henrietta. What difference does love make when it comes to children?
No.
And besides, how could she provide for herself after I'm gone? I mean, just look at your own situation here, Miss Henrietta. Trapped in here alone without a man, you and your mother and your daughter. You're all worthless and alone without a man to provide for you, which I am willing to do for all three of you, if you'll have me.
Yes, I see. What promises did you make to Mr. Babcock to engarner his assistance?
Oh, Mr. Babcock. Well, Mr. Babcock and I have known each other for quite some time, since he was a baby, actually. The only promise I had to make to him was for a proper burial when the time came.
A proper burial?
Yes, a proper burial was all that he required. And in exchange, he promised me a son. A new life for an old death, he told me. Passing of the torch to a new generation, as it were.
And is Marvin really a Babcock, Mr. Fenimore?
Oh, he's a Babcock, all right, Miss Henrietta. And not the kind of Babcock you're thinking of. Oh, no. He's a different kind of Babcock altogether.
How odd. Well, I thank you for your candour, Mr. Fenimore.
Any time, Miss Henrietta.
Oh, listen, please call me my lady. It sounds so much nicer in your dialect. Oh, my word, my dear! My dear, what is it? Is it your menstrual?
Mr. Babcock nearly struck me with that hatchet.
Well, my word, it really is a clumsy oxen, isn't it? Well, I say this count is nearly 70 years old and he's ruined it. Well, I say. Well, that is really in there then.
Mr. Fenimore! Oh, Mr. Fenimore, will you come in here, please?
Yes! Hello?
Oh, yes. Mr. Fenimore, will you please help me to remove this hatchet?
Blimey, how'd that get in there so deep? And why are you on the floor?
Oh, don't mind her. She's just overly sensitive is all.
No, your man nearly struck me with that hatchet.
Oh, nonsense. He was probably just playing a game of some sort.
Oh no, he's a murderer, all right. I've seen him killed before.
You have?
Right. We was coming from a pub near Swanley about 3 weeks ago when this bird flies over and drops a big yellow turd on Mr. Babcock's shoulder. I saw the bird with my own eyes, mind you. But when Mr. Babcock turns around, all he sees is this old biddy, must be 92 years old, hobbling along the sidewalk. "Hey," he says to her, "hey, why'd you throw this shit at me shoulder, you old ditch?" Well, now, this is what he says to her. And I tried to tell him, I said, "Mom, then, Mr. Babcock," and the like. But he won't listen to me. He just keeps going on after this old lady. "Hey, why'd you take the piss out of me?" and on like that. And the whole time I'm trying to tell him about the bird, you see, but the bird is long gone by this time. And he's saying to me, "Shut up, Mr. Fenimore, and shut up, you big loaf." Like that. Following the old woman down the sidewalk. And the whole time she's saying to him, "Bugger off you and shove off, you old git." Real provocative type words, you know. Finally, he goes to grab her, and she hits him with her cane so hard he drops to the ground. And I'm thinking, oh, blimey, I hope he's out cold. Because if he gets up, there's going to be murder up in Swanley tonight. Sure enough, he got up. He ripped that cane out of that old woman's hands and he beat the bloody stuff out of her till there wasn't nothing left but bones. And there were bits of her rags and skin floating down on the leisurely current of that blood. I felt so guilty for not trying harder to stop him. I buried that old woman myself, free of charge.
Did anyone come to a funeral?
No, we buried her 2 hours later in the old churchyard up there, Inesford. Still pitch black outside. Hey, by the time we was done, nobody even knew she was gone.
No one.
Why?
Oh no, but you see, I knew that Mr. Babcock was only acting out of impulse, really, and I didn't want to see the boy hang by his neck for a momentary lapse in reason, you know?
Yes. Yes, how dreadful. Now please do help him to remove this hatchet before he returns.
I'm not up for a midnight burial tonight, and he's in an awful temper. There's no telling what he might do if we don't. There's no telling what he might do if we don't. Oh, blimey. That thing's in there deeper than an Irish priest at a maypole parade.
Let me try.
Shit.
Come on then. Let's go find him.
I'll lose a bit more.
Stranded on the river's pier, the land behind is waning. The sun will cry 1,000 tears, the drops will feel like raining. But never in a million years will I begin complaining, for I survived the war. I knew you'd come. The last time I saw you, you were dead. When I handed your body to Mr. FENNIMORE, you were dead.
Never dead, only dreaming.
Ah, then those were the solemnest dreams I'd ever witnessed. And for an infant, to dream so deeply.
You knew that I was breathing.
I knew nothing of the kind. I'm not even sure you're breathing now.
And what else would I be doing?
Scheming, haunting my dreams and terrorizing my guilty soul.
Ah, so then you do have a guilty soul.
I must, or else you wouldn't be here, yes?
Perhaps yes, perhaps no.
No!
Did my father ever see me? Did he even know that I was born? Or did you lie to him as well?
No!
Did my mother even know that I survived my birth? Your husband?
No!
And that is why you killed him too, yes? Because Grandfather Benedict figured it out.
How did you know?
How did I know? I'm an apparition, remember? I'm only in your conscience, here to haunt you. Yes? Well, I know all of your deepest, darkest secrets, Lady Maud Bantam of the Rosecombe line, and I've come to collect my due. Now, if you have any...
Mr. Babcock, what are you doing in my room? Grandmama!
Eleanor, I see you've procured my instrument. If you'll kindly hand it over, I may complete my business.
No!
I see you were never taught to be obedient. Mr. Fenimore, grab that hatchet, would you please?
No.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Mr. Babcock. You see, she pulled that hatchet out of that counter all by her lonesome, fair and square. By all rights and purposes, it belongs to her now.
All right. Fine. Then I shall teach her how to obey me all by my lonesome. For God's sake, why does it always take a man to teach a woman how to exhibit womanly virtues?
Grandmama! Mr. Babcock, this has gone beyond the pale!
The hatchet, now!
Now, Mr. Babcock, I'm not really dressed in my burial clothing tonight. I can't be digging up no 6-foot graves on account of your impulses.
Shut up, you big loaf. Eleanor, hand me that hatchet right this instant, or I shall carve a bloody frown into your grandmama's precious neck.
Don't give it to him, darling! Save yourselves! He'll only kill you at the neck!
If you want to save her, you will do as I command. The hatchet, hand it over now.
I wanted to stop you from using it on us next. Oh, maybe you should just give it to him, dear.
I suppose you'll just have to trust me then, won't you?
No, I've already trusted you once, Mr. Babcock, and it won't happen again.
Stop moving!
I know this isn't quite...
Shut up and help me, you idiot!
Mr. Babcock, listen, I'm going to make her my fiancée, and I'm not going to let you kill her before I do!
Her fiancé? But she's hideous!
Yeah! Now welcome to my world, Mr. Babcock! Eleanor, what? It's Mama. She's... Oh, Grandmama.
tried to murder me, you know. On the day that I was born, she shoved a napkin inside my throat and pinched my nose closed with her 2 fingers. My body turned pale, and then blue, and then cold. And you knew all about it.
What?
I was your child! Yours and Lord Chesterfield the youngest. But on the day that I was born, she gave my body to Mr. Fenimore to dispose of. But Mr. Fenimore didn't bury me, though, did he? Oh no, he kept me preserved inside a mason jar inside his cabinet. And there I lived and fed and grew the hate and malice within my heart for you and her and even you, dear sister. Though I understand far more than most the depravity of blaming an innocent child for the malfeasancies of its mother. There I festered inside that jar until one day your grandmother showed up in dear old Mr. Fenimore's shop. You know, I had many conversations over the years. Mr. Fenimore, he at his operating table, and I in my tiny glass rooms at the cabin. But something about your grandfather's blood spilling out before me, something different happened that day. You see, your grandfather didn't die of old age or of some sad disease. It was a letter opener, shoved deep within his abdomen on a cold autumn day out by the woodshed. And your grandmother paid Mr. Fenimore a visit on the very same day, along with £10,000 for his silence. Now, how much did you say your estate was worth, Lady Dumpy?
I don't believe you.
Then how do you think I can afford such beautiful clothing, Mother? After all, I live in a mason jar. Mr. Fenimore is a rich man now, and he desires an heir. He's not a young man, though, and I'm afraid he has a touch of the gout in his left leg and a bit more than a touch in his right, so we will have to move rather quickly on this one. So, Eleanor, you can win back your entire family's estate with 2 words. I do. Or would you rather it all fell to ruin?
What's in it for you, Mr. Babcock? Marvin.
A burial?
What?
Mr. Fenimore promised to bury him. Properly. Finally. If he would secure him a son. I never knew that you'd survived, Marvin. I was told you had died in childbirth. I never even named you because it was too hard.
I named him. I always thought that if I had a son, I'd like to name him Marvin. We had a cousin named Marvin up in Wales, Marvin Tunbury, who used to wrestle sheep. Not for any particular reason, mind you, he just liked to wrestle sheep. Anyway, your mother came for a visit. She said it would be fine, so I put him in a glass jar with some chemicals, and I named him Marvin.
And my mother said that would be all right.
Well, not the glass jar with the chemicals per se. I did that after she was gone.
I see.
And you never once thought to ask where I was buried.
No. Marvin, please, you have to understand. I was so in love with your father. Massively, passionately, deeply in love with him. And then he broke my heart. And then when you died, I wanted to die as well. I don't even remember that entire year of my life. Sometime in April, I married her father. I don't even recall the dress that I was wearing. I just did as I was told, as any good English woman is supposed to do. And I am ever so grateful for my daughter. But I would have been grateful for you as well. You must know this, Marvin. You have to believe me.
On the contrary, Mother! I don't have to believe anything. But if you can convince Eleanor to marry Mr. Fenimore, then perhaps I may be put to rest. And then perhaps your guilty soul may be put to rest as well.
I'll do it. I'll marry him. Mr. Fenimore, good sir, although I'm not that fond of you at present, I do understand I am no great beauty, and I believe that marrying you will do more good than harm in this world, so if you will have me, I will consent to marry you.
Well, that's all very nice to hear, Miss Eleanor, but I'm afraid I have a confession to make as well. You see, in all this time we've been communicating, I've been finding myself growing more and more attracted to your mother instead of you.
Oh, Mr. Fenimore!
I know she's too old to give me a son, but after seeing Mr. Babcock's behaviour tonight, and yours, Miss Eleanor, I've decided I'd much rather have a daughter after all, so if it don't hurt your feelings too much, nor yours, Miss Henrietta, I'd like to ask for your hand in marriage. Would you, Miss Henrietta Dumpy, in spite of being still alive, consent to be my bride?
I do.
Wait, am I being rejected twice in one day?
Oh, sweetheart, why does everything always have to be about you?
What about your estate? Your bloody estate? The one that you kept going on and on and on about. By God, for the last 6 weeks, man, you've talked about nothing but this bloody estate.
Well, I'll just have to leave it to Miss Eleanor, won't I? To her family, if she ever decides to have one.
Oh, you disappoint me, Mr. Fenimore. You disappoint me deeply.
Oh, come now, Mr. Babcock, I'll still consent to marry you. The last rice and everything. This time you'll even have witnesses. That is, if you'll consent, of course.
Of course.
Yes, anything.
Oh, my own mother copulating with Mr. Fenimore. Mother, if you had seen half of the things that I have seen from inside that jar, I am certain you would feel very differently right now. But Eleanor's right, I don't understand people. How could I? I was not raised among you thanks to your dear mamma. So, Mr. Fenimore, if this will satisfy our bargain, I wish you all the best with everything. You too, Mother. Miss Eleanor, if you would do the honors.
What?
I think he wants you to murder him.
Your grandmother murdered me 21 years ago. Tonight, I return the favor. I simply need you to finish what she started.
You're my brother.
I am a 7-pound infant in a jar. I spent the last 21 years swimming in formaldehyde. I can assure you death will be a blessing.
But how are you here?
I cannot explain the mysteries of the universe, Eleanor. I can only state that I am tired and I wish to be asleep. Now please, help me be at rest.
Mr. Fenimore's the undertaker. Surely you
I
can...
tried to lift the hatchet. but it would not budge for me.
Nor for me, Eleanor. The task must fall to you. Mr. Babcock, wait.
Yes.
Why is it that you've tormented only me and not your father?
The men never suffer from childbirth, my lady. Only the women. It is time.
Did you ever find me beautiful?
I find you more beautiful than any soul on earth.